This demonstration video will cover JDBC provider and data source configuration for DB2 version 9 and WAS version 7. The first part was a tech talk entitled End-to-End SSL Configuration for IHS v7, WAS v7, and DB2 v9, as you see here. In this tech talk, there was two assumptions that were made before you could enable End-to-End SSL configuration. One was that SSL was configured on DB2, and also that you've configured JDBC provider and data source. This is the DeveloperWorks webpage for our first video, DB2 v9.7 SSL configuration. And this is the YouTube page for that same video. Alright, let's configure JDBC provider and the data source. First, you log into the admin console. Okay, on the left, expand security, go into global security. In the authentication section, expand Java authentication authorization service. Click on G2C authentication data. We're going to create a new one and leave the checkbox selected there so you can append the node and cell name. The alias, you can choose whatever you want. Just it will be referred to later, so just remember it. So we're going to put the DB2 alias. Easy enough. The ID and password has to be a valid ID and password to access your database. Click OK. Click Save. And you see it's there listed. And now let's go into resources. Expand JDBC. Go into JDBC providers. And we're going to create a new one. And we'll keep it at default there, the node name and server name, as you see here. So let's click on New. The database type, you have to select which one you're using. So we're using DB2. The provider, in our case, would be the DB2 Universal JDBC driver provider. The implementation type is XA data source. Now it should fill in the name and description automatically. And it did there, so we'll click on Next. Those values for the path to the jar files should be correct. If not, you have to manually change it, but in our case these paths are correct. Click on Next. This is just a summary of what we did, so we'll click on Finish here, and then we'll click on Save. And then you see that it's listed there, the one we just created, a DB2 Universal JDBC driver provider XA. Now let's configure the data source. So let's go to click on the left, data sources. We're going to keep the scope level the same. I want to mention there's the JNDI name here. You see two of them have JDBC / in front of the name. It depends what your requirement is, but for our purposes we're just going to use a plain name. So let's click on New. Data source name and JNDI name you can create yourself. Click Next. Then click on the radio button, select an existing JDBC provider because we created that. And ours is the DB2 Universal JDBC Driver Provider XA. Click Next. And here, for our purposes, it's the type 4 driver. Database name, we're going to use one that exists in our DB2 database. It's called sample. Our server name. And then the default port number is 50,000, and we'll use that. Click on Next. For security alias, we're going to select the one that we created. Remember the DB2 alias, and there it is. Component managed authentication, same one. And for container managed authentication, same one. Then click Next. This is a summary of our choices. We're going to click Finished. And then we're going to click Save. As you can see there, it's listed DB2 data source. Now to test it, if our configuration is done correctly, we're going to select it and click on the Test Connection button. And you can see the message at the top that the test connection operation for data source, DB2 data source on server 1 and node was successful. This concludes a demonstration video for configuring a JDBC provider and data source for DB2 V9 and WAS V7. This resource slide contains links to the WAS V7 Information Center on configuring JDBC provider and data source. That's the first one there, and the next two are links to the other video in this series, DB2 SSL Configuration. Thank you.